Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8 of the Middle-Aged Mutant Show. My name is Ty, and this is a very special episode of the Middle-Aged Mutant Show because it falls on April 18th, the anniversary of Action Comics #1, and we're all here to celebrate. And to help me celebrate, No H, how was your time off?
You know what? It was really good. I'm ready to come back as a new man. I'm ready to discuss comic books, cartoons, and whatever, man. I'm down to clown.
Finally. He's a new man. He's turning over a new leaf. Jeremy is the newest member of our cast. You might remember him from last episode. If you don't, go back and check out that episode. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I am doing great. And No Age, I know you love pyramids, and have I got the scheme for you? I just need your social security number and your
Lord God. Okay, no. Bodz, redeem us. Tell us what we talk about on this show.
Okay, we're just going to talk about comics, movies, and video games. That's it. That's it, guys. So, let's get going.
Wow, I mean, the audience loves you.
Standing ovation.
Standing ovation.
They were standing. You could tell by the way the clap was.
I know.
And Jeremy, I'm going to text you my social security number just so you'll have it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I didn't want to tell you this. We asked Jeremy last week. We asked Jeremy if he wanted to join us as a permanent cast member. No H. Sadly, since there is only room for 3 people here, you're going to have to actually fight to the death in a Star Trek style fight scene. And so if you look in front of you right there on the table, there are an array of weapons that you can use. So we're going to go ahead and start that. Okay, ready? Go. Oh, God. Who knew that No H was such a biter? But I guess whenever you lose both your limbs, it's all you got. I mean, that was pretty terrible. No H, such a scrapper. Jeremy, but you too. I would call that more of a tie. So what the hell? Probably didn't have to do all that. Yeah, a tie. Probably didn't have to do all that. I mean, all the cuts and bruises, we'll take care of that later. You guys can both be on here.
And
it's fine.
Podcast will cover our medical expenses, you said?
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't say anything like that.
Yeah, you got insurance.
Yeah. It's our Middle-Aged Mutant Healing Factor will take care of that for us.
I always wondered in Star Trek, if you got like a limb cut off and they could just put you and your limb in the teleporter, would it like when you come back,
together?
Yeah, would your arm be where it was before, or would it just be in your hands again? I don't know.
You know, there's a lot of open-ended questions I have about the transporter, and there have been enough Star Trek mishaps with the transporter to justify Dr. McCoy's apprehension and anyone else who had problems with it.
For sure.
Like anyone else, any other character like Barkley and all of them, I'm like, why are we still using this crazy machine that kills us then reassembles us every single time?
So, my wife told me a really interesting fact this week. She said that so every year it is, I believe, your cells turn over at I guess by the end it's like 98%. The only thing that really doesn't turn over is part of the enamel on your bones and your teeth. So I was like, so technically every year you're pretty much a new person. So I was like, well, if they could do that, don't you think on a teleporter it would just be like them accelerating that and you just lost a year every time you teleported?
Yeah.
You're like, God, I'm so old. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
Guys, I just turned 32. I can't do this anymore. I'm so old.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, that's we're not even technically middle-aged if you think about it. We're with these brand new cell bodies. We keep growing.
I will say I know that we have a lot of listeners in prison. That is not a legal defense to say you're a new person. It has been tried. It doesn't
And since I was away, we kind of grew. We have a little bit. We have a few new subs, and
we gained 4 or 5 from the last, and then the last video got 225 views as of today. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that
all wonderful. They're all searching for no.
Well, I think they may have been searching for No Age, but we accidentally wrote nude. That might have been why we got so many hits. If you type in No Age, it autocorrects to nude. So
nude. Hey, that's something that we should think about in the future. Just like bunch of porn words in our keywords. Man, it's got to work.
OnlyFans. That's the next up for the new Middle-Aged Mutants. And but anyway, whether they're real people or spam bots, we thank all the new subs. And yeah, so cool, man. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
I'm happy they're here to hear our voices.
Exactly. I am so pleased that you guys are here. If you're joining us again, thank you so much. We appreciate you. The Middle-Aged Mutants are ready to talk about the first topic. And you know what? Seeing as how this is a very special episode of the Middle-Aged Mutants, I think we need a change of look. So let's our new sexy look we got going on here. Woo.
Nice.
And very as you can see, go ahead.
Very cool with panels.
I know. I mean, look at how much information. Before it was like I wasn't. It's like I didn't design it. I just was in a hurry and like quickly put the shit together.
Like I don't have to hear Ty talk about the topics. I could just read it now.
You could just read it now. You don't have to hear me like stumble through the topics anymore. Actually, though, we need to get to the first topic. There you go. So again, this is a very special episode of the Middle-Aged Mutant Show, thrown together hastily. It is the 85th anniversary of Superman. And we're going to talk about it today. So let's just move on to the first topic, which is the meme of the week. And I don't know if this is such a meme or anything. It's just, I thought it was funny.
I like it.
Considering the Henry Cavill debacle, but yeah, I like that one. But since it's Superman's anniversary, I thought he deserves 2 memes of the week. So I found this one too. I thought this was pretty fun.
I always enjoy that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it. My wife found it for me last night. I was like, good God, that is hilarious. There's a couple of other inappropriate ones I couldn't show in this show. So yeah, those we won't be seeing today. But the first thing that I want to talk about in today's show is, let's talk about memories of Superman. Like, let's start with H. What was your first memory that you can think of Superman? Like,
Superman's one of those things that seems to always, like, you're born with a consciousness, just like the awareness of Superman. So it's difficult to like pinpoint like the first time I've ever seen Superman. Like, since an infant, he's on your diapers, underoos, pajamas. He's everywhere. So, but I'm trying to think of like a very distinct, whether it's the first, I don't know. I'll let the Noach historians correct me on this, but I do remember the old Superpowers toys.
Yes.
And of course, and I don't remember which one of us kids got it first or whoever. I just remember that's another thing that was just always like around, right? And by the time I was aware enough to, play with the toys, that S symbol under the paint had completely chipped away. And like tips of his hair were flesh colored because the paint was chipping away. And like we at some points had the kryptonite ring with like the magnet deal. You'd hold the magnet up to him and he would fall over. So that's one of the, and the cape had that little plastic like semicircle half ring you'd snap around his neck.
Yes.
And it was like a little cloth cape. And so I think my first like memories of Superman was just basically having fun playing with that toy and his super jet that he had for some reason. With what makes it even more hilarious is that not only Superman just needed jet, but later on as you read more comic books, you're like, well, if he gets away from the yellow sun, he's not going to have power. So it actually isn't that too weird for Superman to have like a vehicle, right? But what was great about it is it's designed just purely just for the toys, right? He would catch bad guys and you just stick their hand into the little holes. And you just fly around and drag their bodies.
I remember that.
That's more Batman style right there. But yeah, go ahead, Superman.
And like, if you imagine like he's flying top speed, like hope your arm doesn't rip off. Like, sorry, human Lex Luthor, you just have to deal with it. And,
I do remember that. Yeah, that little. It was on the bottom, wasn't it? It came down and clamped onto your hands.
Little plastic thing. You just
I had that.
Pop the hands in.
Like, I hope your shoulders didn't pop out of socket. It's good. Lord, yeah. Superman was not playing around. Oh yeah, I love the superpower toys. They were so great. I also loved the Secret Wars toys.
Yeah.
With the little shields and all that.
That's all we had back then, really.
Yeah.
For our age,
the two big ones.
Superpowers and Secret Wars were it. That was it for the longest time, too.
Yeah. And the paint rubbed off of all of them.
Yes. It was terrible. Me and Bodz talk about like paint, like speaking of paint in the 1980s, like if you ever had like a Voltron toy or a Matchbox car from the 80s and you stuck the thing in your mouth, as just about every kid in the 80s did, it had this like kind of nice metallic taste. Did not realize that was lead paint at the time.
Yeah,
but I could see now why they're always. Did you eat lead paint as a child? Yes, I did.
Yeah, I remember chewing the paint off of C-3PO, and I was like, "That'll be fine."
C-3PO is pretty tasty.
Yeah. Crazy. I don't know, Jeremy. You're probably too young for that. You might have had some of these toys. Probably too young to chew on an old car.
Yeah, the only car I was chewing on was the weird Ghostbuster one that for some reason turned into a giant praying mantis.
Oh goodness, I don't even know that one. That's weird.
I don't even know it either.
Yeah, that's
a New Mutant thing.
Yeah, that's a New Mutant thing. I have no clue what that is. Oh, I never saw Cyborg as a kid.
I did, but it was weird because like some of them, like I don't think we got here in the States. I could be wrong, but I know there's some
that could be
that just didn't make it to us.
What was this guy's? Is it Caliban or is it Calabac?
Calabac.
Yeah, I had him. I had Firestorm. I had Green Lantern, Batman, Superman. I had Dr. Fate, Hawkman, which it was like my prize one because he had wings and it was really cool. Joker, Aquaman. I had just about all of them. I even had Lex Luthor. And when I was a kid, I remember I think I even had the Penguin and Red Tornado. I had Batman with me in my my backseat of my mom's car, and I was, I had all my superpowers toys back there, and we were on a long trip, and somehow Batman slipped into the seat cushions, and we still own that car. And every day I go past that car, I want to rip out all the seats in that thing and find that toy because he's like hermetically sealed between those seats.
He's probably like mint condition in there, and like
no joke.
I had all those Secret Wars and superpower figures, and I think I kept them in my Darth Vader Star Wars head.
Oh yeah.
But like for some reason they disappeared. I always imagined like we were gonna be moving and we pull the washer and dryer out and there'd be a pile of my toys. I was like, oh, there's where you are. And I was like, I don't know where they went, but I would give anything to have that Batman again because that was just one of my coolest
punching
toys.
Action. Remember, you could squeeze his legs together and you'd punch.
Yeah,
and you could squeeze Green Lantern's legs, and he would raise one arm. I was like, "Oh, this
for the lantern." Yeah, it's really cool. It was good.
Actually, I thought it was for the ring. I thought it was the ring hand. He did it.
You might be right. I think you're right.
I might be wrong.
He raises the ring hand, and then he just holds the lantern in the other hand.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, you're a little younger. Were your toys squeeze based? Did you have to squeeze a lot of your toys?
No. Mine were more turtle based and ninja based.
Oh, I'm there with you too, dude.
Teenager.
Yeah, we were still
teenage based.
I will say though, that was kind of the end of me, like serious, being a kid and toys was Ninja Turtles. I still bought toys, but like more as a collector. But that was the last thing I bought as like, I'm playing with these guys, and
I'm
serious about this.
In the blister pack up on a wall, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm interested because I know Jeremy's a big Superman fan, and I guess I never asked you this, Jeremy. What was your first distinct Superman memory, or like?
So I don't know. I guess I probably knew of him before, but I don't even know if I for sure did. I honestly think my first introduction to Superman was probably one that most people would never have. I had a babysitter that gave me like a bag full of comics, and most of them were Batman. They were like one she took from her brother. Most of them were Batman comics. There was a 4-issue Superman related series in there. And the first thing I can ever remember anything of Superman, and so it skewed what I thought was important about Superman, was the 4-issue World of Smallville miniseries.
Wow.
Which is all about the history of Jonathan and Martha Kent more than anything.
I want to say John Byrne will write that.
John Byrne did write that.
It makes sense. Yeah,
and that's where
Generations too.
And that's where you find out that like Martha had actually been married before Pa, and he passed away, and Pa Kent was at war, and just all this different stuff, and it was really interesting, and I enjoyed it a lot. But then really my next introduction to Superman was when the whole Death of Superman storyline. Well, I guess actually probably, I don't know if it was pre that or before that, but what really inspired my love of Superman was the new new adventures of Lois and Lois and Clark.
Yeah,
on ABC.
yes.
You know, it's funny that you talk about like that Smallville thing was the first thing that was your big introduction into Superman. But like when we first started being friends, I know you through Smallville, like your love of Smallville,
Yeah.
So it's kind of fitting in a way.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my first thing. I thought the Manhunters were so integral to Superman lore for the longest time, because that is a big part of that miniseries, is the Manhunters kidnapped Lana. And I just remember thinking like, oh man, those Manhunters, that's a huge part of Superman. And then when I started reading Superman, I'm like, the Manhunters aren't really in here. Oh, they're a Green Lantern thing. What?
Yeah.
This is that ship, right?
That was
the
it.
one that Superman had. Yeah, that you put.
That
yeah,
was
I had
it.
I
Todd
had it.
McFarlane did a remake of that one recently, but it looks different. But that's the OG one.
Well, sweet. Yeah, I do remember. I had it. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, me too.
Probably
Me too.
Somewhere.
I never had the Batmobile. I wish I had the Batmobile.
I did. It was so rad too, because it had like the cow catcher on the front and would like jut out quickly. I thought there it is.
Oh,
right
that's
there.
cool.
It would like pop out and knock bad guys over. What did I do?
Oh, the Mr. Freeze is cool too. I remember him.
Mr. Freeze was good looking figure.
He was cool.
I didn't have the Batcopter,
cool.
but I had the Superman ship, and that was about it. And then, like you said, there's no damn reason for Superman to have an aircraft.
Well, he's on Earth anyway.
Yeah, that was my weird toy I was talking about that I put it. You can see the Ghostbusters logo on the side. I don't know if it's from anything, but I never knew where it came from. That was my weird view toy growing up.
I remember that, like that they were haunted. That's what the line was, where like normal objects were haunted and stuff, and it turned into like a ghost monster thing.
Yeah, like a praying mantis car. That is part of a line that I had no idea about.
That's wholly strange to me. I have no clue what that's about.
I did have some Ghostbuster toys. They were pretty cool.
I did have a Ninja Turtles vehicle that made so little sense, as they're turtles and in theory would be great swimmers. It was like a paddle boat. It was like a turtle paddle boat, and I never know where it came from or anything. But I was just like, why do they need this? Why can't they just swim?
Yeah. I had the sewer skipper or whatever it was called. It had those little with the
little
tendrils
fan on the back.
Yeah, I had that. That was pretty fun. Bodz, what is your first memory that you can like come up with Superman?
That superpowers really, that was a big deal for me too. But more so was just because when I was born was Superman, Christopher Reeve's movie.
Exactly.
That was the epitome of everything. Like there was nothing else. Nothing was better than that. I pretty much had to live a decade until Batman came out. We had like a good Batman movie, but no, that was it. Superman was it. And I, as a kid, and even now, I still kind of get goosebumps when he flies by at the end of the movie and salutes you or waves or even smiles. I'm like, that is and always will be my Superman.
What's funny is so Jeremy and I watched. I remember Jeremy and I watched the Superman original movie. This is a few years back, but I remember I hadn't seen it for like a really long time before, and man, you kind of forget just how much of a 70s movie Superman was. I'm like, it's like, because every time I see clips, it seems so timeless, but if you actually watch it, there's some very distinctly 70s things going on, like the humor, the style, the music. It's so funny to watch. It's so funny.
But it's kind of lovely. It's like kitschy and old, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Movies aren't like that anymore, Now they just woke suck sucky crap. I don't know what else to.
It's basically like
it's trash.
It's the super films, unfortunately, all the new ones that like from Returns through Man of Steel and so on have all been just so not fun. Like I look at them, they're like, let's study the philosophy of Superman and what he means to society. I'm like, I'm putting me to sleep. Good grief, I'm so done. It's so boring to me. Like to me, it's like, let's take the most boring aspect of Superman and make like 3 hours of this. Yeah, let's do that.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun.
I mean, like it's interesting, but I'm kind of over it, and now I just want to see him fight Brainiac, or just give me some Toy Man or something.
No more dark takes. I don't want any more dark takes of Superman. Just to hell with that. I don't.
We've seen it. It's the best part. The best dark takes of Superman have been done.
Yeah,
like there's been some good ones, but let's just
some not so good ones. Yeah,
and
we need some hope.
Yes. Better, more lighthearted,
and
but still hopeful Superman. For the love of God,
I guess
stop Batmaning my Superman.
Exactly. I never liked when they try to Batman Superman, but I saw like as of today's recording, like James Gunn tweeted like the script cover of Superman Legacy, and I'm like, I gotta tell you, we shall see what the movie actually is. But I immediately I just don't know what it is. I'm not crazy about the title, and it's so funny because I'm like, you have nothing to go by, really. I'm like, I don't know why, but I guess we'll see. That's just me.
I'm just worried that it's gonna be a joke fest / I don't know. I'm really worried about.
They're gonna lean too far the other way, make it too
far into maybe too far into humor, and the rumors you catch out of this, like, they're gonna take Michael B. Jordan and immediate he's gonna be like what the Zod Superman from the other Val-Zod. Yeah, they're gonna take him and make him. I was like, oh God, don't do that, please, for the love of God. Y'all have fucked Superman up like habitually. It's just constant. Every time you make a Superman, like Brandon Routh was a joke. I watched it and I was like, this is supposed to be continuation of the old Superman. This is terrible. And
I can go into that. That was that is one of 2 films that DC ruined because of test audiences. If you go back and look at the Superman Returns, like some of the initial scripts for it, it could have been an incredible movie. So the original main plot of Superman Returns was more so about him returning after being gone, but the main focus of the plot was his mom. His dad had already passed away, obviously, in the first film, in the first Superman. This was the continuation after 2. It was Martha Kent was going to be getting remarried, and it was about Superman sort of struggling with whether or not to let this new person know who he was, and it was more about his struggles of, I'm supposed to inspire hope, but I have doubts in my own life, and all of this sort of stuff. And when they showed it to the first test audiences, they were like, we don't like this. And Lois did have a kid. She had moved on, which I don't love that part of the plot line, but it didn't matter. But regardless, they're like, what if Lois's kid was Superman? All of the stuff about Lois's kid being Superman's son was added in post after test audiences had seen the film.
Yeah, I never really, I kind of forgot about the original Super Son.
Yeah. That terrible. And then I just started watching Man of Steel today, just to kind of, I was like, well, I'll watch Man of Steel. I couldn't get that far in it. I was like, ugh. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not all that, like I said, I'm not all that horny for fucking Henry Cavill. I just don't. I'm like, he's just, nobody's Christopher Reeve to me, and it's just really hard to I don't know, accept another Superman. They're gonna have to really, really do something special for me to I'm just an old school Superman fan.
I will say Tyler Hoechlin's been doing a hell of a job. He is the most comic book Superman in a long time.
Is he the one on the TV show, right? Superman Lois and Superman. I do like him. I don't like that he has brown eyes, but I do like him. But other than that, he's great. I get
what's funny is when I first watched the Man of Steel in 2013, I guess it was, or whenever that movie came out. I don't remember now. Yeah, yes, it was. But anyway, when I saw the screening, I remember. I think I went by myself and I was just watching the movie, and there's this the scene where Henry Cavill's like there's a scene where he walks around with his shirt off, and there's like some woman in like the theater. She's like like that. So I'm like, well, there are plenty of people who are horny for Henry Cavill. I thought about like, should I leave you two alone? Should we all just leave so you can be alone with
She's
Henry?
like shuffling in her seat a little bit too much, or I gotta get out.
Yeah,
I gotta get out of here.
I was like, I wanted to go to the gym after that. I'm like, man, I gotta go to the gym, man. What am I doing out here?
Yeah, he is a pretty muscly Superman. I noticed. I was like, wow, yeah. I mean,
if I remember right,
part.
I think he gained too much weight for the first movie, like too much muscle for the suit they already made, and he had to lose.
He was
some
pretty
of
bulgy. Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, I never thought Superman would ever be that like big, because if you think about it, Invincible kind of tackles this idea where like, what is he gonna?
He can't lift? He can't lift things. He can't build.
Yeah, what is he gonna lift to build muscle? You have to break the muscle fibers. You have to make hypertrophy happen to get big muscles like that. So what the hell is Superman gonna lift?
There is, because you figure people obviously, and for good reason, love the classic Superman films, and at the time, Christopher Reeves, he like gained muscle for him, but he looks so skinny. He is
So the theory behind there is a in-lore comic book explanation, take it as you will. I want to say from the 70s, maybe the 60s. And it's supposed to be that his muscles do break down every night when he's not exposed to the yellow sun, and rebuild when he is. So just by not being in the sun is his equivalent.
But does he work? But that means you have to work out in the evening, right? Yeah. You have to work out in the evening, right?
What it's supposed to be is the yellow sun leaving it is the breakdown. Like he doesn't have to work out. Like that's it breaking down, his equivalence of it happening. That was the in comic book explanation. Some random 70s comic book writer came up with.
I would buy more like the radiation actually does tear apart his muscles, but they also heal them as well or something.
Yeah, like heal them just as fast.
Yeah, but
if they would have said too, like he like night falls, he loses his powers like in 2 or 3 hours. He waits, he goes to the gym, works out. Then the next day, whenever the muscles like building up, he's just like, oh yeah, that's the muscle I built.
I will say this was around the same era that it was also explained that the reason his glasses work is because he has the power of super hypnotism, that he hypnotizes people through his glasses. So take all these power explanations as you will.
You know what? For the new Superman Legacy movie to win me over, James Gunn he takes all the silly lore and he just like, here you go, comic Pierce. All the silliness of Superman. Right here.
Where did you get that rug? I used my super weaving power as discussed in the 1960s issue.
Yep. Yeah, literally most of the movie is him explaining stuff. Nothing really happens.
It's
oh my god, you're like so bored. You're all, this is fitting because I'm super bored.
But I think that'd be hilarious.
My first memory that I can conjure up from Superman was, first my mom covered me in Superman as a child. I had no clue. She gave me a little set of shoes that I had, and I still have them to this day. There's a little set. They got a little baby Superman on them, and my sister's grandmother, she gave me a blanket that she knit. That she actually, it was just a pattern that she had like sewed together that was Superman's. But the very like first like visual memory I can like, oh my gosh, it's Superman, is I was in my hometown, or like the adjacent hometown. Bodz knows what I'm talking about, but we were going to the movies. This is the 1980s, and I'm waiting in line. I'm super happy because we're going to see Superman, and I don't know if it was 2 or 3. I think it was 2.
I think it had to be 2 at that time.
It had to be 2. I was very young.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like so excited. Our theater was like a uniplex. There was only one theater there. Very old theater. I think it's still standing, but it doesn't, you can't, I don't know if you can go in there anymore. I think it's like closed.
I think it's still standing, but I think it's
like a historical thing now. Yeah. And now it's obscured by like 2 buildings. So anyways.
Yeah. It's weird. They built that grocery store right by it or something.
Yeah.
Like right in front of it. So
exactly. It is hard to see. But I remember when I was a little kid that whole parking lot was empty, and we're standing in line, and I remember being super excited, and I looked up, and on the marquee right above it, they had a like a Superman, like has like a big mannequin who it was like flying through the air, and he was attached to the marquee. And I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best movie ever. I was so excited by that. And that's really, other than superpowers as well, that is my first true memory of Superman.
You know what's funny about that is that the first movie I went to see ever was in that theater, and they had a big Boulder Indiana Jones display.
Oh, really?
For Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Cool. And that was the first movie that I went to go see there. And like, they must have gone all out back in the day if they did that for
place,
Superman.
Our town, I used to think that for being so small, we were still that town was still really cool, because remember Western Auto? Remember going to Western Auto? Like, no kid knows what Western Auto is anymore. We went there. That was it had like several floors. Remember how you know how you see those shows that are like first floor houseware, second floor tool, whatever, and then like whatever floor was toys for us. And it was before KB. It was before Toys R Us for me. All these things, and I would go in there. I was like, oh my God! And they had just the best selection of toys for being. Such
it was a legit department store.
Yeah, like, it was just a department store.
There was just different departments. Yeah,
a lot of that stuff makes you sad.
So many.
Because you like it's like old drugstores. I remember too. You go in there and you get like hamburger, and you could go look at comic books and all that stuff. Ice cream,
that's the only place I could get comic books was the drugstore.
Exactly.
The little spinny rack.
It's like we lived in Smallville, Bodz, in this.
we really did. It's like
we really did. It was really cool.
I wouldn't change my childhood for anything.
And I remember Bodz
inappropriate touching and all that stuff.
aside from that, I remember I remember y'all telling me stories about when you grew up. You were on your dirt bikes and you stumbled onto this cave where these Native American paintings were on the walls, and you found like a hexagon or like a
octagonal.
It was octagonal, yeah.
Not hex. It was an octagon shaped metal thing. And it went to one of y'all's spaceships. I forget which one of you was the alien. But there was a whole cave saga in your season 2 of your life,
and into season 3 even.
Oh yeah, it was in season 3 as well.
Yeah. And it's weird that we just did seasons for our lives.
Yeah, that's how we remember. Oh, that was season 4. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's easier to keep up with your own life if you just think of it as seasons.
Well, boys, I have something. You knew that trivia was going to be on the schedule today. All right, so let's
tell it's right there. See it.
And well, if you saw the schedule today, I don't know if you saw the schedule today, but we have Superman trivia. Okay, I hope you boys are ready. I'm pretty sure Jeremy's going to win this. But what I did tell you,
we won't win it.
I'm pretty sure Jeremy.
I told you this was Superman trivia.
Already.
I told you this was Superman trivia, but I did not tell you it's the world's hardest Superman trivia. I looked for this. And I got one right. That was it. It's
all right. My goal is to get 2.
It is rough. Okay, so okay. Now we don't have any buzzer. Jeremy has a buzzer. Y'all don't have a buzzer. I'm pretty sure Jeremy's using the same voice line program that I'm using. So Jeremy, if he wants to buzz, he can buzz. I don't know.
I don't know how to use the buzzer, so I'll just say
Oh, come on. Come on.
Should we make some kind of sound?
We'll have to put it in post. Oh, that's not really a buzzer.
Does this make a noise? Did that make a noise?
Like it goes a deed or something like that. It was really
okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do the noise. So I'll just say buzz.
Oh, there's
I don't know. Anyways, so let's go right to the first question. Okay, what's Clark Kent's social security number?
Oh gosh, go ahead. Noah, tell him your real number. So
I would like to pull a Professor Farnsworth and just say, technically, he does not have one. He has a faked one on fake birth certificates because he has never officially been issued one. So any number you have,
whoa,
not real.
But we got to know when were social security numbers issued, because they weren't always a thing, and he was here in 1938. So. And he was,
but he wasn't a real American citizen. I mean,
but people all the people that were born before social security numbers were actually issued, they would have had to have gotten a social security somewhere. And who says that he wasn't born here as well?
I mean, Jor-El does at the beginning of the 1970s.
Well, no. But I mean, Ma and Pa can't go, no, this is a foreigner. What are you gonna do with him? I don't know what they're gonna.
Hey, social security number started in 1936.
1936. Okay.
So he would.
So he might have.
Therefore, any number he has is a lie and fake.
Well, he does have a number, and there it is. and the message on the things is, if you didn't get this one, you might as well give up now, because it was given to in Action Comics number 340.
Oh,
all right. Well,
so I guess it just gets harder from here, huh?
All right, new goal to come up with a technical reason why the question is invalid.
I mean, if I know anything from Smallville, Lionel Luthor gave him the
he did. He had to return
all the
favor.
fake stuff.
That's right.
All right. Question number 2. Gold Kryptonite strips Kryptonians of their superpowers. What is the radius of effect?
I think
30 feet.
10 feet.
No H?
Yeah, what's up? I dropped off for a second.
Gold Kryptonite strips Kryptonians of their superpowers. What is its radius of its effect?
The radius of just regular green K?
Gold K.
Gold K.
Gold.
Come on, no H. Keep up.
I said 30. Jeremy said 10 feet.
How long was I gone? I was only gone for like a
Holy
second.
shit, no.
Dude, just say a number. Say a number.
Say a number.
I'm going to say 50 Earth feet.
I'm going to say it's as long as the author wants it to be.
I'm sorry.
I would say technically it's as long as the author wants it to be, and writers can change it.
True. True enough.
What should be in meters?
It's 2 feet. World's Finest, number 159. It was 2 feet. Gold K.
Whoa, I was going way too far.
Way too far. Well,
I get it.
That actually, like in Generations number 1, that I kind of call bullshit on that, because I don't know if she was.
No, she was way more than 2 feet away.
Yeah, she seemed way farther away.
Yeah.
So the just a real quick note on the Superman and Batman Generations. So I'm a active user of the DC Universe Infinite Ultra app, and I read digital
like
comics.
Put on there.
You have to say the whole name. Yeah, you got to throw that Ultra.
Yeah, you don't want people to think you're just a regular user.
Yeah, you're not a normie.
That'd be embarrassing.
And but I looked for Generations, cannot find it. And so as much as I love the app, I gotta say searching for comics could be a little better.
Yeah, it's not on the app.
Yeah, I looked for it as well.
And so I'm like, it's so weird that it's not there. So I actually didn't read it, because I
actually would want to read it now, but now I can't find it. So
so it's like, I love the app.
DC, come on now. Generations 1, 2, and 3. What the hell? Let's see him on the app.
Why haven't you digitized this 20-year-old comic that didn't?
I know. What's your problem?
That didn't do that well.
I mean, but of all the obscure issues they have, I'm like, you would think they would have this, like,
yeah.
I'm sure they will.
For the next question.
Yeah, let's go next question.
All right, next question. What was the maiden name of Kal-El's mother, Lara?
Oh man, I feel like I should know that from like the other show.
I feel like I should know that one, but
the Superman prequel show.
This is the only one I got right.
Is the only one you got right?
This is the only one I got right.
Oh man. Boy, I forget like normal things, and now I have to.
Yeah, no idea. I know
Laura Van. Superman 233. Laura Van.
Yeah.
I don't know
feel
why
like
I knew
it does sound very familiar.
Yeah. Well, good job, Ty.
All right.
You are the super fan.
I guess. Next question.
So far.
What was Lana Lang's mother's maiden name?
Aunt Nell.
So I do know that
if you do the legwork here, you can figure it out.
I will say there was a version of Lana Lang whose was descended from the Fordman, so I don't know if that's what it's going for or not, and that's where they ended up having Whitney Fordman come in Smallville.
I didn't know that, actually,
but I don't know if that's what they're going for. If there was some other obscure one.
They're going for a possibly an incestuous relationship with Lana and Whitney, and they just not know. It is Smallville, okay, so not a lot
Okay.
of
Now, this is
active
what
gene pool.
This is what the quiz says, okay? It says it's Potter because it says Lana's
That makes
mother's
sense. There's Potter's
brother.
Field and Potter. They reference Potter's Field a lot in Smallville, actually.
And was it
Lana's
Nell
mother's
Potter?
brother.
Was Aunt Nell's last name Potter? Because I've been rewatching Smallville and I don't remember them saying.
All I know is they said
Nell's
that her
name.
brother, her mother's brother's named Professor Potter. So through that logic, Lana's last name would be Potter.
All right.
Wow.
So
well, now let's
take with that what you will. Okay.
All right.
Next question. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Superman used his X-ray vision to produce heat waves. When was the very first mention of heat vision as a separate superpower?
The very first?
I'm going to say on the Flashman cartoon.
I want to say the radio serials had it, but
my guess would be one of the radio.
No.
Is that good?
Action Comics 275.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say the Flashman cartoon or Action Comics 275. I could have went with the other one.
Clearly, Bodz is the bigger fan, guys. He knew that. As you see, his retconned answer. He didn't say it out loud, but he was thinking it. So that's what makes
it was there. And I probably had it, and it also probably had a hologram cover. So just have to go with that.
That lithograph or whatever it is.
Yeah, that was big in the 90s.
That's so funny. It took nearly 300 issues for them to finally kind of distinguish heat vision, this classic Superman power that didn't come along.
Yeah.
Well, it says it produces heat waves, right? So like that means that Superman could like heat up his cup of coffee. Like, was it like at first? Was it like really like small things he could do? Like
he used to melt things with it all the time. He used to like melt safes and stuff with it when it first came out and all that. Like he really didn't even X-ray was basically heat vision for the longest time. Like he would use it as X-ray vision occasionally, but normally his X-rays, it would be the X-ray radiation is heating up the metal and stuff like that.
So
I remember there was a lot of safes. There was a lot of like funny issues where like he would like X-ray like a girl's shirt, and it would just burn her shirt off. But it wasn't like I can see through your shirt. No, you just burned it off.
Oh no, we're talking about the actual comics though, not the fan fiction that you did in middle school.
That's what made it like differentiate. So I think it was.
It's kind of like that Scott Bakula movie Zapped or whatever, where like the static electricity, just to be a perv. That's all. Or was that? Were you thinking of Porky's, Bodz?
Scott Baio.
No, Scott Baio.
Oh, Scott Baio. Sorry, I thought it was Bakula.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's funny that Superman used to melt like safes back when he was in his bank robber phase, I guess.
Yeah, there was lots of times. I mean, he even actually did it in Generations 1. It was sort of an homage to those comics in the 30s and 40s, mainly 40s. He would do it like he melted the safe, this heat vision, and Generations 1. That's basically straight from some panels back in the day when he used to do that in the 40s.
So
I guess maybe they were seeing like X-ray more as like microwaves. Or
they just looked
like
at X-ray as radiation waves, is what basically how it's referred to in those comics.
Speaking of radiation, real quick here. So I remember there was at least at one time, Lex Luthor. The deal with Lex Luthor always used to wear like a kryptonite ring, and the prolonged exposure like gave him like cancerous or diseased hand. He actually had to remove his hand, have like a robot hand or something. I'm thinking like that prolonged exposure to like the kryptonite, you know what I mean? Like I wonder if there's something about Kryptonians, and he can produce radiation with his eyes. So I'm thinking like, is there something like a radioactive property to Superman? And would that mean, based on the logic of that Spider-Man deal where Mary Jane died from web fluid, radioactive web fluid, would Lois Lane die of the same reason? Like, would she eventually keel over because of a
Generations blamed it on cigarettes, but now we know the truth.
Yeah, no.
So I'm just.
He's like, sure, yeah, it was the cigarettes that gave you cancer. Yeah, cigarettes.
Yep, cigarettes.
Yeah.
Because if he stared at you intensely and he didn't really like think about it, like, he just sitting there like, oh.
There's just so much radiation involved and surrounding Kryptonians. I'm like, it's got to be bad for Lois.
There all the time.
Well, think about it. Like Superman's in high school and he's starting to see chicks and he's like, oh my God. He just looks through one chick to see another chick. And she's just like the middle one is catching all of it. And the other one's just catching so like the poor girl in the middle has got horrible cancer because he just won't stop staring at Lana Lang. And he's like, oh my God, sit on the other side of me.
Smallville was like the Smallville, remember in season 8 where they found out it's like the cancer capital of the world?
Well, now we know why.
On the show. No, I'm kidding.
I was kind of believe because I'm like,
yeah,
in a while I'll get there in my rewatch.
I will say there is I would recommend everybody read it, but like about 15 years ago, someone actually came out with a fairly well put together scientific paper that is the unified theory of Superman's powers, that basically all of his powers can be explained by just his ability to change the inertia on even an atomic scale of any matter with which he is in contact. I mean, they have the formulas in there to explain how being able to do that and change different things would explain X-ray vision, all of that. And it was basically like Superman has this one power. He just doesn't understand his power. So this is how he uses it.
Is it like Firestorm kind of theory?
No, it's no. It's not like he's changing it. He's just changing the size and scale of it. That's why when he catches a plane by the nose and picks up a plane by the nose, it doesn't instantly crack in half like it should, because he's actually changing on a molecular level, making it basically less dense as he's in contact with it, so that he can easily pick it up and stuff. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite theories. I love the idea of there being like one power for like this one person can have like this one power, but due to their misunderstanding of it, they think I'm like a god. I have so many powers, and really it's one godlike power.
Yeah.
I always figured like initially like Superman was like kind of created like John Carter from Mars, where like just the gravity was different here, so he could leap tall buildings in a single bound, and I think they just.
I mean, that's what it was originally.
I mean, it was. Yeah.
There was somebody
initially. They just kept adding powers.
I think I want to say there was somebody who there's some recent podcast I was listening to. I don't remember who it is, so shall not credit them. But somebody was saying like if that's the case, if gravity was really the case, then Superman would really have like a messed up spine or something. Like
he'd be very tall.
He'd be either tall or short.
No, he'd be taller because as gravity lessens, that's why I don't know if you've ever watched the show The Expanse. All the people that are the belters, they're super tall because their spines are allowed to like basically decompress all the time. And so that whenever they get on Earth, they just kind of crumple because they've never had to deal with any gravity. And so that's why that's why humans are shaped the way they are, and we are as tall as the way we are. We can't get taller than like 8 foot because we start to have problems because we're not meant to be that shape at that size. That's why you see like giraffes and whales and dinosaurs. It's shaped the way they are because they're the only ones that can exist within the square cube law to fit that, fit our 1G gravity,
Man, The Expanse, that's one of those shows, and not Superman related, but just look at it. It's one of those shows that it's so interesting and yet cannot hold my interest at all. I want to be a fan. I really
even the
do.
First season?
The first couple episodes, I'm like, this is so cool. And yet I am not compelled to watch any more of it. And it's so sad because it's like everything's here. Hey, you like cool sci-fi? Yes. Thomas Jane, give me more. All right. And it's like, but no, it's like just one of these days when I'm through rewatching Smallville for like the umpteenth time, I'll give The Expanse a chance. Give The Expanse a chance. There you go.
I guess on another note, similar like on Orville, the race of aliens that come from the different gravity where they can jump really high and be super strong. Yeah. That's kind of that I guess thinking there.
Yeah. So would Superman really have? Would his powers really be derived from a gravity-based element or aspect? Not sure. I will believe yellow sun rays for sure, but I don't know about that.
Well, if Superman's abilities were based upon gravitational differences from planet to planet, the problem with that theory is he's lived here so long that he would eventually just get used to it, and
he would normalize. He would adapt and normalize.
Well, and plus, two Kryptonians, and then I would think that, let's say I'm about to get nerdy here. Let's say that Superman's powers are based on gravity. I would think that the pressure that he'd have to deal with on the planet where he's from would also be like the atmospheric pressure would be higher as well. So if he didn't have the same, because right now every human has about a Volkswagen Bug's worth of atmospheric pressure pushing down on us at any one time, and that's why we are that's why we're all shaped the way we are. When we go higher up into the atmosphere, that pressure lessens. So we start to if you've ever looked at somebody that look kind of like they're a tick gonna pop, when they're on the space stations and stuff like that, they look kind of like like their face is kind of puffy and stuff like that, because there's not all that atmospheric pressure pressing them back into like the shape they're supposed to be, because everything wants to turn circular in space or in lower gravity. So Superman would probably be like kind of Humpty Dumpty looking, if he didn't have the, hey guys.
So really, Danny DeVito should have been playing Superman the whole time.
Exactly. A very tall,
and not the Penguin.
Anyways, I started blasting with my eye beams.
Anyways, yeah.
My heat vision. It's always funny in Metropolis.
Next question. Superman's general given date of birth is February 29th. Clark Kent's is June 18th. That's the day the rocket landed on Earth. What was Superman's date of birth on the Kryptonian calendar?
Well, they have different month names. So March, I'm pretty sure, is one of them.
March, yes.
Damn, this 13th of
March.
The Kryptonian calendar.
When I read this, I laughed out loud at the answer. I was like, yeah, I would have known that. Not.
Sorry, had an internet issue, but I joined it on my phone. Sorry for the drop in audio quality. I'll get back on the computer as soon as I can.
No,
so okay, you got to answer the question.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Well, we all got it right. We're just saying if you get it right.
We just want to see if you know it now.
Okay, what is it?
We know it.
Okay, so Superman's general given date of birth is February 29th. Clark Kent's is June 18th, the day his rocket landed on Earth. What was Superman's date of birth on the Kryptonian calendar?
I think I know this.
If you know this, I'm like, good God, you are the super fan, because holy Lord.
I do know for sure that it was the year 9998, because it wasn't quite 1,000.
What? You looked this shit up, didn't you?
No, because this was a whole thing that they had. It was like a tribute. Was it? It was like right. Almost 1,000.
The 35th.
I don't know. I don't remember the names. The only month I can remember on the Kryptonian calendar is Octel, and I have no idea if that's it or not.
Okay, so you were right. It was the year 9998, the 35th of Eorks or Yorks. Eorks. I don't know how you say Eorks. Action Comics number 429. So good. Well, bravo. You deserve a. Oh my God.
I just. Yeah, I want to. I just remember this came out around a time. There was something around. I just remember something around the year 1,000, and it was like, or not. I guess not 1,000. I guess it'd be 10,000 or whatever. Maybe it was around like DC 1 million or something. I don't know. I remember there was some tie-in, and there was one comic I read where they specifically called out that it wasn't quite 10,000.
Well, I actually missed last week because I was celebrating Kryptonian New Year. It's a very big deal.
Big deal. I'm non-practicing Kryptonian, so I didn't observe it. Okay, next question. All right, according to the Adventures of Superman radio program, who gave Superman the name Clark Kent?
So I 100% know this one. I've listened to that first radio show like
3 dozen times over the course of my life. I got it from Cracker Barrel when I was a kid. So I'll let John and Bodz try to guess if they'd like, and then I'll say the answer.
So I know I'm getting things confused, and what I'm getting confused isn't even like completely there in my brain, but I can kind of see it in my mind where.
Are you looking
like
it up
this,
on?
I'm not. I'm
like
trying to go strictly from memory, and I'm just not stalling at all.
Well,
don't hear the sounds of my
I'll
fingers
give him some
tapping my
more time, and I'll just go ahead and say this. This is what happened. No, I didn't look it up. I'm just going to say the most far-fetched thing. What happened was, while he was growing up on the farm, they just called him Boy. And so he didn't get the name Clark Kent until he got to Metropolis, and Perry White gave it to him.
On his high school graduation, they called him up to the commencement. And now, Boy, here's No, I think...
I know you're looking this up. I know.
No, so I will say John has listened to this.
And it says, so you can tell I haven't looked it up because I'm not going to be able to even formulate a proper sentence. So I'm trying to, but it's like...
That's why.
There was some like old dude or something who gave him a name because he figured, oh, you need a name, sir, or something like that. I'll just...
Hey,
Jeremy,
wasn't this in Will's old podcast?
Jeremy,
didn't y'all talk about this in one of your old podcasts?
Yeah, we did. We talked about this in a previous podcast.
Okay, so Noah should know this.
I should.
Yeah, and
your borderline, get your borderline there.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
I'm
remember
so
there was
close.
something about like an old dude also, and something.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I remember y'all talking about it.
Well, Jeremy, do you want to tell?
Let Jeremy
go ahead and tell us.
So essentially what happened was that I think it was the second issue, because I think the second episode of the first serial, because I think the first episode was just him leaving Krypton. But basically he lands on Earth. There's these two dudes, like one is an older guy, and it is the older guy that gives them the name technically. Or actually I think they each give one of the names. Basically just two random people, because there's no Martha and Jonathan Kent in that first radio serial. He comes to Earth fully thing, and the first two people he saves, like just basically two random dudes are like, oh, you're going to need a name here on Earth. How about Clark? Oh yeah, you're gonna need a last name. What about Kent? Yeah, you can be Clark Kent.
Yep.
Yes,
that's exactly correct.
Yeah.
It just said on the thing. It said since he came as a full-grown adult, he saved saved two people shortly afterwards. And
Yeah.
they said you might find it easier to have a secret identity here on Earth. So that was the Clark Kent thing. So yeah.
That's fine, because I do remember y'all talking about that in an old podcast about Superman.
That's what I want.
No
the
age,
first
shame.
First scene, one of my many James. The first scene of the new James Gunn movie, adult Superman saves two random like homeless people.
Well, can you imagine that though? Like Superman's sitting there in his little like shuttle, and he's shaking around, and he's aging this whole time, and then he doesn't speak. I'm guessing he's in like a learning pod, hopefully, or something like that. So he speaks something, and the Kryptonians speak a different language. So he gets there and he gets out, and he's like, "Oh my god, I've never used my legs before, or my arms, and I'll pick up this truck and throw it out of the way." I thought that was so. It tickled me when I read that.
So that reminds me of one of the many reasons I didn't like Man of Steel. Is like when Zod like he is basically arrives on Earth and he's like new. He's like, I don't know what's going on. And then like Superman's like, oh, well, you should know that you have powers now, and here's what you can do. It's like, oh, thank you. I'll use these powers to kill you now. I'm like, idiot, you should have just not said anything. And they would have not known that power.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. Who was the first criminal banished to the Phantom Zone, and what was his crime?
I know this post-crisis, but I don't know if it changed.
See, I feel like the obvious answer, everyone's brain is going to go to Zod. That makes me think it's not Zod.
It's not. Well, I don't know. It might be pre-crisis. Post-crisis, it's definitely not Zod. If you read New Krypton, or Planet Krypton story, they talk about this particular person quite a bit.
Jeremy just wants to like play. He doesn't want to answer the question. He wants to see what y'all think.
Oh well, yeah. If I say, then they'll just copy my answer.
I will just do the most outlandish question.
So Jeremy, as a gag, Jeremy, you just say the answer, and then
Oh yeah, I was thinking that answer too.
I will say 100%, John. Me and you have talked about this at one point.
So it does seem very familiar, but this is one of these things.
Remember, it was on your wedding day.
It was part of our vows that we vowed to never forget, and here I am.
And just like when they sent blankety blank to the Phantom Zone, our love will last. Remember, it was in the vows.
Yeah, and Bodz, you wrote our vows for us, which is nice.
I know, and so I should know this too. Which is embarrassing.
I never paid you for that though, but.
All right, well, I'll give the answer. I'm assuming that y'all don't know. I don't know, and I could be building this up and be completely wrong because I have no idea what it was pre-crisis. Post-crisis, it was Jax Ur.
Jax Ur.
The team's so familiar. Yeah.
This cheer sequence is just too long. I need to find a very short one.
I want it to be longer. I want it to be like weirdly too long.
There's tons of them on here, but I was like, man, that seems like a bit long. Jax Ur, whose forbidden experiment with nuclear rockets destroyed one of Krypton's moons.
So that's changed post-crisis. I believe post-crisis he didn't blow up the moon. He just blew up a city on the moon. I think it was just mass murder of people that lived on the moon, not destroying a moon.
That's not that bad.
Which is
the fact that you've gotten 1.5 right, so that's pretty damn good.
I think he's gotten more than that. If you think about,
because we'll give him. Oh wait, no, 3, because he's gotten 2 right, and then 1 he just knew the year. So he's got 2.5 right. That's good.
So he's catching up to me.
Yeah. Well, I was switching when I was switching from the phone to the computer. Y'all went through the rest of the quiz, and Bodz got them all right.
I was amazing. I was like,
amazing.
That's
like left
just right on there. I didn't. It's like I blacked out and just knew everything.
Okay, I think this is the last one. I might be wrong about that. What was the name of the school bully who tormented teenage Clark Kent?
Flash Thompson. There, final answer.
Final answer.
I don't know. All I can think of is Whitney Fordman because of Smallville. So I don't know. Like Smallville's taken over any knowledge I might have had of that.
I think you're all wrong. It was Bashford from Superboy number 157 and others.
Yeah, he comes back as the villain.
Bash.
The Mighty Bash.
The Mighty Bash. He's like, could you know the secrets of the new sound?
I think he's in Young Justice as a cameo.
I didn't know who he was, so I was like, what the hell? And, is there one more? Yes, this is the last one. Okay. The Bizarros, imperfect duplicates of Superman and his friends, had their own cube-shaped world and their own peculiar chant. Recite the Bizarro code.
Oh man!
In brightest day, in Bizarro night.
Yeah, we we hate beauty. We hate, we hate beauty. We love ugly.
What?
Don't be perfect on Bizarro World or something like that.
Us do opposite of all earthly things. Us hate beauty. Us love ugliness. Is big crime to make anything perfect on Bizarro World. Holy shit.
Give that man half a point.
Well, yeah, he gets the whole standing ovation here. Take a bow, Jeremy. Take a bow.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I think it's safe to say Jeremy is the Superman trivia winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, you know how bad at trivia I was just now. Discord, I think, nearly broke my phone. My phone was frozen for a while.
Something happened. I was watching the screen. It kind of flickered or something like that.
I got sent to the Phantom Zone. Apparently, I was like, "Holy crap!" Discord broke my phone.
So I will say the only reason I even had any idea on that is not because of any comic. Joe, do you remember those like DC encyclopedias I used to always buy and read?
Yeah, I have one, at least one
there,
of them.
it was in one of those. It was in like the suit. There was like, because I had like the Superman one, a Batman, Wonder Woman, just a DC one, and that was in one of those encyclopedias. I don't think I've ever seen it in a comic.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Yeah, because it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it. It was part of a comic. It just says, because most of them would actually cite the comic they were in. This one,
because that one, that one, I just remember the picture and the thing. It was because it was Bizarro, and it like brought it up as like, even though they're not Green Lanterns, they have their own creed, and it compared it to the Green Lantern creed.
Well, that's the end of our quiz.
While I'm talking about the DC encyclopedias, can I just make one plug real quick? Is if you're going to get a DC encyclopedia, any sort of thing like that, highly recommend the DC Anatomy book. It is very cool. DC Anatomy of a Metahuman. It is a book written as if it was a journal by Batman discussing all the metahumans. And it's like his journal on metahuman physiology, and it is very incredible.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty fascinating, especially he goes into the genitals of each metahuman he's ever encountered.
It's a lot of like pics of them in like tribes with no shirts. It's like early metahumans not wearing bras or anything, just flopping about. No, he's just like, I gotta take this to the bathroom for a totally unrelated reason.
I'll put a picture of the Superman page in the chat. I don't know if Ty has the way to make that appear on screen or not, but if not, then everyone else gets to see it.
Yeah, you can forward me the picture and I'll put it in post.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, if only you viewers at home could see.
Yeah.
I mean, we could actually look it up if you like. I can go to my browser.
I put it in the chat and Discord.
But there it is, folks, in all its glory.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very cool. Very nice.
Very cool. And the horrible tumor behind his eye that produces X-ray.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell Clark.
All right, well, that's it for our quiz, and we shall move on to the next leg of our Superman extravaganza. Apparently, Superman's going to be back in theaters, and we got a recut trailer.
So it's not coming back in theaters; they're just releasing it in 4K.
That's what it said on their Twitter.
Oh, really?
Coming back to yes, I just read it.
There's got to be at least some theaters, right?
Interesting. So yeah, I wonder why they didn't put that in the trailer.
It was on. Let me go back and make double sure. I believe it was. Let's see, Twitter. I believe I saw it, and people were saying I got my tickets already. So let's see. It is screening from last Friday to Wednesday, the April 26th. I might have to go. I've only seen it in theaters once. I might have to go see it in theaters again.
And hey, while you're on Twitter, you can look up Middle-Aged Mutants and follow this show for all of our tweets.
No, it's
and we'll let you know. Maybe if something's going to theaters, maybe it's not. We'll let you know. You can look it up yourself. But we'll be there to remind you.
That'll be the tweet. You can look it up yourself. Hashtag don't bother us.
This tweet got pushed so far down, I don't even see it anymore. But yes, it is coming to theaters. You'll have to look at
it's already listings. It's already back. It said it was back from April 14th to the 26th.
Okay, so go ahead and check out I'm thinking about going to see it, but I live in a smaller town, so I may not be able to see it. But yes, Superman. Oh, let me just move my Superman is coming back to the theaters, and I am pretty excited because this is by far one of my favorite Superman. So.
Yeah, it's funny thinking about how classic the movies are and everything. It's like you pretty much think about like the first two as just being so good. 3's okay, it is what it is, and 4 they just kind of went silly. It's sort of like there's just this weird decline, but those first two were so good.
Yeah. It's like then they were planned. They were like they were obviously thought of because they, set up the Phantom Zone in the first one and everything. And
so while we're still in the Superman sort of discussion phase, this 1978 Superman movie and my love of it is the only reason I got an A instead of a B in a geology class I took in college. Because on the final, I basically had to get an A to get an A in the class, and I would have gotten a B, but there was a 10-point bonus question that the teacher put on there about the 1978 Superman movie.
Oh, wow.
What?
And honestly, it's a question that I don't think the professor could get away with today.
Describe your penis is what it was.
In the context of the 1978 Superman film, describe your penis.
Link the earth in meters, in metric.
It was what color? Okay, it was according to it was like something like according to Superman, what color was Lois Lane's underwear in the 1978 Superman movie?
Was it pink?
I believe
it was indeed pink. I don't think you could get away with that question though in a quiz today.
No.
Yeah,
he'd be.
And you know, it's funny on that. Jeremy was telling me on that same quiz. One of the questions was who originally gave Clark Kent his real name, and in the
radio serial.
In the radio serial, and he aced that one too. He got it.
Yeah. The 40-point bonus question was what was Clark Kent's social security number. Didn't get that one.
Missed that one.
Yeah, that one is like the golden snitch. Had you gotten that one, you would have won the game outright. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you know, it's funny, just the lasting power. Like, you know, it's funny. We were talking earlier about how Superman Returns was like this continuation, and I remember as soon as I heard about that, I'm thinking, mistake, just mistake. You have to leave these alone. They're such their own thing. Trying to be like a canonical continuation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and other things have tried to do this, like Halloween. They had the recent trilogy of movies. There was like a continuation of like the very first Halloween movie. I'm like, you can't recreate it. You just do something else. Because, you know, I'm like, it's just not going to work. And I don't think I think Superman Returns is just such a misfire, because I'm like, you just leave the memories alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and what was funny though, but there's a reason why someone would want to revisit these is because they're still just so darn good, even with some of the goofiness that's around, like Superman throwing like a big symbol. He has like an S that he can throw at people, and he can use reconstructive vision or something to rebuild things with his eyes at one point at one of the movies.
I forgot that the bricks were all
it's like, what?
Okay, as a kid you're just like, that's
Superman. That's what makes him super.
So I don't know if any of y'all did this after this modern recut trailer came out and we watched it. I went to look up the original trailer from 1978. Oh my God, it is awful. So the original trailer literally is just Jor-El explaining the origins of Superman, and it's showing those shots from the first 5 minutes of the movie on Krypton until Krypton exploding for the first minute and a half.
Oh shit.
Then you have about 40 to 50 seconds of Martha and Jonathan in a field, like, oh, it's a baby, you know, discovering it. And then you have like 10 seconds of Superman flying, and it says Superman the movie.
Yeah, no, I actually remember that trailer. I do remember it. It was very kind of like lackluster, but apparently put the butts in the seats back in the day.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
that was back in the day when film trailers were like 5 minutes long. They were like a quarter of the length of the actual movie you're going to watch.
No
it
joke.
was only like 2.5 minutes, but it was the first 2 minutes or the first minute and 55 seconds of that is a chore to get through.
Yeah, you're looking at your watch.
It was a lot of Marlon Brando talking.
Yes, it's basically just Marlon Brando talking.
Well, I think it's fitting that they picked because I started watching the Man of Steel today, and I think it's fitting that they picked what's his name, Russell Crowe. Because he basically is turning into
Marlon
Brando.
I'm just waiting him for do the Island of Dr. Moreau, and they're like, well, the circle is complete.
I am so comforted by Russell Crowe's aging and weight gain. I'm like, it just makes me feel so good about myself, and just because you're like, as a Gladiator, of course, he's all like cut, he's Maximus, and then like now that he has FU money, he's like, I don't have to be in shape for no damn body. I'll just be in my vanity project band and just chill out and make movies when I feel like it.
He's all like, I want to do what was the latest one? The
Pope's
Exorcist,
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it falls into the
Exorcist,
Hitman's Bodyguard saga.
The Pope's, yes, the Hitman's Pope,
the Hitman's.
One of those.
It's all in that same universe of
it's the shared universe, but
the astronauts' wives and time travelers' wives.
I remember like thinking, if you're gonna cast Jor-El, I'm like, Russell Crowe's good. I like him as this.
Yeah.
And is he as good as the Smallville one where he just got Zod to be Jor-El? But I don't know. But it was one of the few, like, the casting wasn't really a problem except for Lois in Man of Steel.
Oh yeah, Margot. Well, I thought you were gonna say Margot Kidder. I was like,
no,
I don't think they've ever been able to cast a Lois that I was like super behind. I like Margot Kidder. I did not like this new, what's her name, Amy Adams or whatever.
No, she was so boring.
I like Terry Hatcher and Erica Durance.
Erica Durance, great Lois.
Yeah, I liked Erica Durance.
What was the one from Return? Was it Kate Bos?
Kate Bosworth.
It was Kate Bosworth.
Okay. Very boring. Very, very boring.
Yeah. The only thing I noticed about her is when I was watching that movie, I was like, that chick's eyes are two different colors.
They are, yeah.
And so that was the only thing.
Radiation.
Yeah, Superman radiation. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I do not like the Lois they have on the TV show right now, the Superman Lois, just because I watched the show Grimm and I could not stand that woman after a while on Grimm. So I kind of wish they would have picked. And they always pick this Lois. It's like haggard and like really old for some reason now. I'm like, I don't think Superman could get a hotter chick. I don't know, just me.
I thought the guy from Grimm would have been a good Superman.
Oh yes, he would have been a good Superman.
I mean,
except for his like slightly wooden acting, I would say, yeah, you're correct. I will say, this funny thing is, I watched
Noel Neill in the 50s did good too. If you ever go back and watch The Adventures of Superman,
the guy in the black and white,
she was a good Lois.
I thought his name was George.
No, George Reeves. I'm talking about Lois. Noel Neill.
Sorry, Lois. Sorry.
One thing about Lois, I will say, and I've said this before in other topics somewhere, but one thing I always appreciate about the Lois character, even back in like the 30s and 40s, Lois wasn't simply just the person for Superman to save. She always had some type of like drive to her, you know what I mean? She was always,
at the time, she was the one who figured out who was behind stuff, and that was the only reason Superman was able to save the day. Even
like, she could have easily just been written as like, I'm so happy the Superman is here to help save and do everything, and I'm just the object for Superman to like rescue. I'm like, man, even like from day one, I mean, granted, you of course you can go back and find like things that wouldn't fly today, like there's maybe like she couldn't drive or some crap like that. I don't know. But, or maybe she was like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be able to vote. You'll get lines like that maybe. But even with all of that, she still had like this. I keep going back to the word drive to her. Like, she like just wasn't just this brainless like dimwit. So I'm like, kudos to the writers, even back in the day.
Yeah, it was a good dichotomy there. It wasn't
I think she had to be kind of like, she had to be one of those people that always was stepping in it because Superman had to have something to do, Because what trouble is he going to get in? He's always like, he's sitting there like doing his job. He turns Lois is being captured by a robot. He's like, well, fuck.
Yeah. And also a big part of that is like, since he didn't want anybody to realize he's Superman, like Clark has to be like this, not only like a doofus, but like clumsy and like shy. And
I always loved that though. I always loved that aspect of Clark though.
Yeah.
And like,
was there
Lois
any of that in the Man of Steel? I like I said, I haven't got to that part. I just saw the part. I got the part where he was on the tanker and he started
remember.
No, Man of Steel. Literally, he doesn't become Clark Kent to the end. Like, he's Superman pretty much the whole movie, and then like,
but that's
kind of
part of the charm of Superman is that he's like this.
It's kind of opposite, yeah.
Yeah, it's his charm. That's what made freaking Christopher Reeve had to play two characters sometimes 3. Well, evil Superman, I gotta say, as much as I say I don't like Stark Superman, but evil Christopher Reeves is like my favorite thing about
It's so
I think
good.
it's the set. Oh, I love that scene where he gets like, come on, go! And he gets like really. That was one of the alerts for a while.
So Superman 3, it's been, people have said this. I'll read every now and again. Every time the topic Superman 3 comes up, there is this weird creepiness to Superman 3 that I don't know what it is. Like there is some, like when the lady becomes a robot.
Oh man, yeah, no, that messed me up as a kid. Like I was like, in my head, I was like, is she supposed to be Brainiac? But also, it just made me feel so weird as a child.
Yeah, the
like,
chick that got all like wrapped up in all the circuits and stuff,
and became a robot.
Yeah. Like there's this
that
strange
creeped me out.
We also get like horny Superman out of that too, didn't we?
Oh yes, but that's my favorite Superman. Is corn dog Superman.
I like how like bad Superman is just like apathetic a little bit. Evil equals like apathy. He's just like, I'll get there. I always do. Calm down.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
he'll
that's
also
evil
save
Superman.
You.
Yeah.
He's that pure. He'll still save you. He'll still like be a superhero. He'll get there.
If he would have got here a little faster, Superman. Remember that part? If he would have just got here a little faster, Superman. Well, sorry.
I do like I do love one of my favorites is the third one because of Richard Pryor being in it.
Yeah,
I love Richard Pryor. The whole him being a hacker and all that, just it tickled me to death. As an adult, as a child, it's like, yeah, Richard Pryor could. I mean, this comedian, he could be a hacker, and Superman. You know, he's devising this like death trap for Superman. Yeah, sure, you can do all that. He's Richard Pryor because you know he's got that gravitas.
As has come out more recently, you know, as we know, Richard Pryor, he was very involved with Superman. Superman, more especially.
He got to know Jor-El.
Yeah, he got to know Jor-El very well.
Intimately.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's that part of Superman lore that we don't talk about a whole lot.
Part.
Well, as Richard Pryor once said, have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. So let's move on to the pièce de résistance of the show. Generations 2 and 3, if we can get through it all.
We'll be honest, probably just Generations 2.
Yeah, we'll try. It's up there, and I have all the graphics for it. There were like 80 graphics for this thing. Holy cow! It was like one of the most. So I was like, golly, yeah, I hope we get through this because it was a lot of work. And not to mention the redesign of everything. Good Lord. But we'll try to like. I don't think that let's do more of a high level, Jeremy. Let's not do
because this one I will be honest, this one is a lot more. This one's more about family and obviously and explaining who people were through the ages. It's sort of what happened in between the years we didn't see in the other comic.
Yeah, it's already kind of like sandwiched in. So but where we pick up, we're in 1942, and we pick up with Hawk. The basically the JSA is what I got.
JSA, yep. Mm-hmm.
We got Alan, the Sentry there. And we also have Spectre, and I believe there's one more, and I can't remember who it was.
But Hawkman,
and the entire
Blackhawks,
and also the Blackhawks, exactly, the Blackhawks, and they're fighting this giant Nazi war machine, right? And go ahead.
I just will say, so in this one, I mean, it's basically just, hey, this is the JSA, here they are. But I will say that there is something in here that contradicts something in Generations 1, if I'm not mistaken, and that is like, shouldn't Ultra Humanite already be in Luthor's body at this point? Because in the World's Fair was when all that stuff happened with Luthor.
That was in 1936, wasn't it?
39.
Yeah, and this started 1939, and then this is 1942, and like throughout this whole thing, he's not really in Luthor's body. I'm just like, wait,
well, they don't show it either though, because remember, whenever he figures out that this is the Ultra Humanite, he just kind of looks at him and he has like something in his chest. It's like a kryptonite or something.
Kryptonite, like I guess he doesn't take his mask off, so he could be in Luthor's body. But even the fact that But even the fact that Superman knows the Ultra Humanite exists, like he didn't seem to know he was still alive, and at the end, like during the big reveal in Generations 1.
Yeah, and because he is surprised in this one, isn't he? Whenever he actually like removes the mask, because if I remember right, so the Sentry and the Blackhawks are actually shooting at this thing, as well as the Justice Society. They're trying to take down this big Nazi war machine. Spectre has turned into this giant, and he's ripping it apart. And then all of a sudden, the Ultra Humanite goes, "Hey, I'm losing, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna win the war." So he fires like I don't know if it was a nuke or whatever he fired. And one of the Blackhawks, I think it was Chuck. I don't know his last name. He chases. Is it Chuck Roth? Chuck. I don't remember the last name, but he flies after it and actually gets in between it and its target, and he like basically splits his plane in half and starts going down. And they're all wondering like, where's Superman? Where's Superman? We haven't seen him. I think he called him to be there, but he wasn't there yet, or something like that.
Yeah.
And Chuck's plane is going down, and he's going to hit a hospital, and I think he actually did hit a hospital.
He did. He blew up a hospital
and killed quite a few people. So, but
probably Nazis.
Yeah, probably not. Well, it never says really, if I remember right.
It doesn't say, but we'll just assume.
We'll just assume. And then Superman shows up, and they're like, "Oh, thanks. If only you hadn't been delayed, Superman." And he shows up.
Was it Superman for Superman 3?
Yeah. He shows up and rips the head off the Nazi war machine, and that's whenever he he's looking for whoever the boss is in there, because he doesn't know. He just showed up, and then there's a rocket launch from inside of the behemoth, and it's a rocket taking off, and he goes after it, and that's whenever he figures out it's Ultra Humanite. And for a second, I thought it was Metallo, just because it kind of looked like that thing was implanted in his chest.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
That's what confused me about this. And so he pulls his chest plate off, and Superman's like, oh, he starts to like feel the effects, and then he ends up it didn't look like he pulled the mask off or anything.
No, he didn't. And in fact, looking at it, he even says he's wearing a lead-lined mask to prevent him from even seeing the face. So that does make sense. That it's Luthor's body.
I was confused about that part too. I wasn't thinking about like the canon, like what year we were talking, but whenever I was reading, I was like, how does he know it's the Ultra Humanite? But
so after that, Ultra Humanite gets away because he had kryptonite. Wonder Woman exists, and then we have a Batman and Robin story that's basically nothing. It's Batman and Robin. Batman saves Lois and Robin, who enfoils a Lex Luthor plan. That's pretty much it.
My favorite part of that is whatever, like, because it's the same thing where how they all play the old switcheroo on Luthor and Joker.
Yeah.
And so Batman does basically the same thing in here. He pretends to be one of the henchmen of Lex Luthor. And my favorite part is whenever Robin gets loose and he starts like kicking everybody's ass, and he one of the henchmen bends down and goes, "Robin, quick maneuver 347." And Robin like launches off and kicks Luthor. Is it? We're not talking. Yeah, it's Luthor, not the Ultra Humanite.
Well, it's technically the Ultra Humanite. They just don't know it. Luthor's been dead. Luthor died in 39 in this.
Yeah. And then Superman pulls off his mask. He was the henchman that was all quick maneuver 347. I love that shit. It is so fun.
That's pretty much this entire issue. I will say there's one other thing I want to talk about, and that is the implication on the last page of this year that Clark Kent wanted to join the U.S. Army, but accidentally got too excited. And when he was supposed to read the eye chart, he accidentally used his X-ray vision and read a chart in a different room, and he failed the eye exam. And it's he basically is like, but he wanted to join and he accidentally failed because he
winks at the end too, right?
But he's winking because she's like, you would make the war last twice as long. He's like, oh, I'm sure you're right. But the part where he says he was eager, that's all in his mind. He's just thinking it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he actually wanted to join.
I didn't notice it was bubble. It was not a word bubble. It was a thought bubble. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting because
imagine Superman in the army. God Lord, man, it would be amazing.
Only later did he realize he didn't have to actually join the army.
He could have just flown over there as Superman.
Yeah, just flying over to kick everybody's ass, come back.
Done something, anything. So many lives lost needlessly because of Superman. Superman's in action comics.
All right, so the next thing we're in 1953 now.
11 years later, and really not a whole lot happens in this one. It's, hey,
no,
Commissioner Gordon is there as an old man. I've been being held by the head of the demon, Ra's al Ghul. The Justice Society's like, we thought he was dead, but we think Ultra Humanite was dead as well. And then we find out Wonder Woman is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Trevor is out doing some combat missions, so he's not there for the birth. Superman's on an alien planet with a red sun, and Lois is also giving birth, and he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying, because to me, this one was sort of like nothing really major happened. It was just Lois and Wonder Woman give birth. Steve Trevor died, unfortunately, so he never got to meet his daughter. And Superman met Abin Sur, a Green Lantern, and
because he had to call him in, right?
Yeah, the Green Lanterns.
That was the beacon thing.
That was the beacon thing. And so the Green Lanterns are now sort of introduced into this canon, and the Abin Sur meets Alan Scott, and for the most part, that is pretty much this whole issue.
Yeah, and then Superman devises a plan. He devises a plan, but then how did he basically, like, the Abin Sur comes down, they win the war because Abin Sur shows up, right?
And Superman, and then Abin Sur takes him back to Earth.
Takes him back to Earth, then that's how he starts gaining his powers again. Okay.
Yeah.
There not a whole lot. And then Wonder Woman, she did take off to didn't she take off to North Korea to fight for a while to find her husband? And he's all
not on this. In this issue, it was just he gave birth, and she wants some time alone with her daughter. She will go to North Korea, but on this one, she doesn't actually leave. Because it was like what was I going to say?
Wasn't
Steve
it like
died
her clone
in Korea.
Or something?
Steve died in Korea. No, it was Diana. Yeah, Diana Troy. It's always been a weird thing. She's a younger version of Wonder Woman, ripped out of time, sort of a thing in this. But yeah, basically Steve died in North Korea, and so that's sort of the hint that she's going to go to North Korea and take the fight to them.
Yeah,
but she doesn't actually leave in this one. Instead, it's just.
But doesn't Diana in this one? Doesn't she go and retrieve the body at least? Right.
That's Donna Troy. Diana.
Okay.
Diana's just giving birth and having her kid. Yeah. Donna Troy.
Donna is the one who retrieves the body.
Yeah. Okay, Donna tries to save Steve, and she's the one who then shows up to the hospital to tell her Steve died.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then we find out Lois has freakishly big feet in this one too.
Krypton radiation, man.
They show her the stirrups, and she has just freakishly large feet. I was like, oh god, Superman
has a type. You big feet, you know what they say.
Yeah.
It does show Steve Trevor's grave, and so he died at the age of 40.
Yeah, in 1913 to 1953,
shot down in Korea.
And the next issue we see is 2 of 4, and it's 1964 now.
1964, and we almost get to see Bruce's wife.
But again, they're cock blocking us, I guess. This is
wearing makeup, so we don't get to see what she looks like.
Yeah, I think she's green in this one.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. And we're in the Bat Cave at this point, and I don't remember there being a whole lot happening in here either. I just remember seeing Supergirl.
It was basically Supergirl got permission to be Supergirl, and BJ didn't have permission yet to become Robin. We got Joel Kent, being like, "Oh, I hate you. I got a secret of my own," showing that he was, shows a little bit about how Luthor had been lying to him his entire life, like we got in the first one.
It's a teleporter that he would go and talk with him, and
we got
then BJ just kind of lamenting that he can't. And then Kara shows up to kind of oh, look, I can do whatever I want. And
we have a little bit of we have Bab's introduction. We got Dick and Batgirl.
Exactly.
That's about really, it's not like a whole lot. We also have Kid Flash, or I guess it's
Kid Flash
Wally. Yeah,
because they have a little almost like a little Teen Titans, because isn't he fighting wasn't it the weather? Was it the Weather Wizard?
Weather Wizard, yeah, Weather Wizard with BJ and Kara.
Yeah, and then what else?
Mirror Master shows up as well.
Mirror Master shows up too. Yep, that's true.
Grodd, yeah.
Grodd,
and then we do get to find out, Dick and Babs are more than just Batman and Batgirl.
Yes.
I did like how it wasn't technically him talking. It was it basically showed the one little panel change where it showed Babs and Dick like going to make out on a couch, and then it sort of just shows an empty couch because they went to go do something else, and then technically it's BJ talking, but it just says, I could get grounded for this. It's like it made it seem like Dick was worried about getting grounded for sleeping with Babs.
A lot of BJ and Dick in this.
A lot of BJ and Dick. A lot of BJ and Dick in this, and yeah. But yeah, then we do get to see Wonder Woman's daughter also showing up.
Yeah, and then they eventually defeat Grodd and Weather Wizard and Mirror Master, and then they say, "Oh, we should start our own Junior Justice Society."
Mm-hmm.
And then they eventually, no, we'll be the Justice League of America, and that's kind of where this one ends.
I did like the one line though of I think it was Weather Wizard when Wonder Girl jumps through and he's just like, another super kid? What? Just so many. Exasperated. There's too many super kids. Yeah. Then we get the good old Joker issue.
Yeah. 1975. We see a maniacal Joker in his rubber cell.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see what happens here. I'm trying to remember.
We had the introduction of Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris.
Because he's test piloting I don't know if it's like a long range or like interstellar vehicle. It's like a circle wing vehicle. And if I remember right, he loses control of this, and he actually has to punch out at some point, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember. And then we move on to, let's see, is it Metropolis or Gotham? I can't remember.
It's Gotham with the old Commissioner Gordon. And there was the line that Bruce said, like, you're only 6 years older than my father. I'm like, how old was Thomas Wayne supposed to be? Either Commissioner Gordon aged horribly or Thomas Wayne aged amazingly. Because if they're only 6 years, they look like 30 years apart, not 6 years apart.
Well, we don't know how Commissioner Gordon lived versus the Doctor, because I don't know. He could.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't that he's 6 years older than my dad was when he died. It's you were 6 years older than my dad. So never mind. I take it back. I apologize, Commissioner Gordon. You look great for your age. But yeah, basically the Joker is sort of going insane, and we do get to see the first ever, for you history buffs out there, the oldest still used DC character ever, Dr. Occult, older than Superman. Wow. Premiered in 1935.
And that's why today we're celebrating Dr. Occult Day.
Dr. Occult Day, been around since 1935, and he basically helps BJ, who's now Batman, and Kara try to figure out what's going on with the Joker because they think he's haunted. And we get some good old Deadman action.
Yes, Deadman shows up.
I know you're a fan of Deadman.
I do like me some Deadman, and actually, I'm going to have to hop off here, but I do want to just say real quick, DC.com I just saw this. They posted the evolution of Superman's origin. They kind of list.
Oh, the origin. Okay.
They list like the several different versions and retellings of the origin of Superman, from including some of the movies and these serials and things like that. And just one thing that struck me out as funny is they go to 1951 in Adventure Comics number 169. They, being funny and cute, they say, "Why did you say that name?" And they're supposed to say Martha Kent is renamed Martha Kent. I think they mean, what's funny, it's Marth. And and at first I thought it was a typo, and I guess it could be. But apparently, a year prior, 1915, Superman number 12, Mary Kent is renamed Marth. Close, but not quite right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's just bring back Marth. I guess that's Marth. It could be Marthy. I'm not sure. But at first I thought it was just a typo. And I'm like, maybe it could have been. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna have to hop off. So this is why it's good that Jeremy is here. He can kind of take over as the for when Noah inevitably has to leave early. So anyway, happy I could be here to celebrate Superman.
Yes, sir.
And one day, when Generations is on the app, I will eventually read it. Till then, all right, guys.
All right, take it easy. Later,
but yeah, the rest of this issue is pretty much. I mean, it's just them finding out it's Dick Grayson.
Yeah,
Joker
because they use Deadman to go into Joker's mind, and then they find out it's Dick Grayson is doing it, and then Batman refers to Alfred to go and basically like exercise.
Yeah, Dick. Ghost Alfred basically go in and be like, "You're a good man. You're a good man. Stop haunting people." And he's like, "All right, yeah, cool. Let's rest."
Yeah, I guess I'll leave.
Yeah. So and then
that puts us at what? That puts us at. Oh, I went backwards. I meant to go forwards. That puts us at number 3, right?
Yeah, I will say toward the end of that, I just want to say the one thing I do like is that Joker, once he finds out, that he's dying at the end, he asks for a favor. All he wants to do is see under the mask to confirm what he always suspected. And I like that BJ's like, "Oh, is that all it would take? We've come to the wrong place. You're the last man I would ever want to die if he'd die happy."
Yeah. BJ's pretty cold-blooded.
Yeah.
I do. That's why I started liking BJ a lot whenever I was watching this. I was like, oh, I like Dick, but BJ is the next.
Yeah, for that. Yeah, BJ is pretty awesome.
Is BJ the equivalent of like Damian Wayne in this?
Yes, BJ is Bruce's son.
Yeah. Okay. But he's not as dicky as I would say.
I don't know. He's starting to sound like it.
Yeah, but no, to his dad. I mean, you notice how like he's a father. Yeah. Damien's just kind of like a little shithead, and BJ's not like that at all. He genuinely respects his father. It's his mother that I think he has more of a problem with because she's always like, "No, you can't be Robin. Yeah, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that." So yeah.
I will just say as we go into this next one, which is 1986, we do see it does open with a little bit of Superman confronting Luthor. It's just rehashing stuff, and guess in case you didn't read Generations 1. But I would like to point out this first thing when we do see BJ and we find out what his life is BJ is now married to May Lee and is raising her son as his own. And I just want to talk about the family dynamics here. That means that Bruce Wayne's son was supposed to marry Clark Kent's daughter, or actually did marry her. Then she was killed on their wedding day by Clark Kent's son, who was married to May Lee, who was, but Clark Kent's son died, so May Lee is now a widow, and so Bruce Wayne Jr. marries the wife of the man who killed his wife,
yes,
and raises his son as his own. That is just
BJ is a real stand-up guy. It's horrible. His situation is absolutely horrible. But he can put aside all these things to go ahead and like go, well, the kid didn't do anything wrong, so I will. And as far as I know, Nightwing here, he grows up to be just fine. So it's not like he was like you little, like gave him
he raised him well and all that. It's just that would have to be so hard raising the son. I mean, it is also technically your wife's nephew.
Mm-hmm.
You say raising your wife's, it's just so weird. He married his wife's sister-in-law and raised their nephew.
I was struck by that too. I'd have been like, maybe I don't take you. I'll take the kid and raise him. Not you. I don't know you.
A little weird.
That's one step extra right there.
Yeah,
it's strange. It's very strange. But and then we move on to the JLA, right?
Yeah, the big manhunt for Batman, which, unless I missed something, because I did just sort of reskim it, seems like this crazy manhunt of everyone trying to stop BJ's Batman because he's gone too far is because he accidentally put 6 people in the hospital.
Yeah. He went a little bit too hard. He did something, and I don't remember what it was. Something.
The only thing that I saw was Batman put 6 bystanders in the hospital chasing Hyena, and she escaped. And it's like, yes, that's bad. I don't think their level of reaction is appropriate.
Yeah, because they are like we're taking him in.
Was doing that all the time.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like
he put him in a hospital for what? For like, I mean, he is doing some dangerous shit in this. Like,
for
in this one part, he's about to run into this traffic, and he somehow launches the Batmobile over this crowd of people. So I'm like, well, if he was doing that kind of stuff, like habitually, I could see like them going, oh.
And I will say that he did that, and then later on, like a page or two later, he says that this is the maiden run of this new Batmobile. So he did that the first time taking that Batmobile out. So that it is a little difficult.
The first test worked.
if it hadn't, I would have killed probably dozens.
Oh yeah. And then the Flash shows up and basically puts a brick wall in his way, literally.
And this is Wally's daughter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is Wally's daughter, Kid Flash.
And he immediately takes her out because she's apparently not
takes her out.
Yeah, he's not. She's not strong with the Speed Force. He just karate chops her to the back of the neck, and she's out.
And then done. I love. And then he goes and confronts Cheetah, and I love. This was one of my favorite parts.
Is it Cheetah or Hyena?
Hyena. Sorry. She just it looks very much like
she looks like Cheetah. Yeah,
but I love the henchman and goon outfits. It's literally just solid black, and their shirts actually say henchman and goon.
Yes, straight out of the TV show.
Just in case you weren't, it's like, oh, who are they? Whose side are they on? Oh, okay, they're henchmen. Got it.
And all the while, Bodz, he's wearing that suit you don't really care for, the new mechanical one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing that, and he's
that was his suit after Kara died, right?
Like, yeah. And then Alan Scott catches him, and I did love that they used Bodz. You remember what Alan Scott's weakness was?
Alan Scott's weakness is wood, right?
Yeah. So he basically gets captured by Alan Scott, and he has a device that chews up wood and spits out sawdust and covers Alan Scott in sawdust to get away.
Yep. I remember that. And he just like sticks it on the floor quickly.
Yeah.
He's like, oh hell.
Which I was just like, that's good. That's some good Batman preparedness.
Yeah.
Yeah. The apple did not far fall from the tree in that regard. And then Kid Flash gets scooped up, right?
Yeah, Kid Flash gets scooped up. And this is, I believe, the first time we actually learn what Wonder Woman's daughter's name was. At least it's the first time I remembered it. Because obviously she named him after Steve Trevor dying, so she named her daughter Stevie.
Yep.
So we got
and she
Stevie,
looks like Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Prince, I guess, probably. Fighting Batman, and Batman versus Wonder Woman and Alan Scott after he gets the sawdust off of him, and Kid Flash. So Batman basically starts to go too far and is about to kill Alan Scott, and then he realizes what he's doing, and he runs away himself.
Yeah, and then he shows up to Mei Li's house, or his home.
Yeah, his home,
and he that takes us to 1997. Bodz, that's a very special year for me and you as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. And then it is.
That was the year y'all first. That was the year y'all first kissed.
Yes.
Not the first time.
I'm going too far. I'm going on the wrong one.
We still have Mechanical Batman.
We still have Mechanical Bat. Yeah, Mechanical Batman's still a thing, and then now we have young Clark Wayne.
Yep, as Robin, and he
has a really rad version of the
Robin suit. I really like that version. I really do.
It looks cool. It kind of is like a weird like mixture of Robin and Spider Boy. Yeah, I think it's Spider Boy from the Amalgam Comics.
I was thinking Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman mask.
Yeah, and it's got this really cool R. The R is in the center of the chest, much like Superman.
And it's got like the sort of Asian language sort of style to it, which makes sense since he's half Vietnamese.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of an homage to his origins.
And then I keep hitting the wrong thing here. And then he am I wrong here? He he swaps his suit pretty quickly for the Nightwing outfit.
Yes.
And that's when he talks to him about how he's going to call himself Nightwing, blah, blah, blah. And what else happens? He then we cut to, I think it's Hal. Is it Hal Jordan in the White House?
Yeah, President Hal Jordan, who says Sinestro's going to kill him.
Yep. And he what else happens there? No, you go ahead. What else happens there? I forgot.
I was gonna say, then we just basically have Sinestro fighting. We got, I can't remember if it's Kyle Rayner who it's supposed to be, or if it's Hal Jordan Jr. I think it's Kyle Rayner. Yeah, and Kid Flash and everybody sort of fighting Black Hawk. She was fighting Nightwing. I think she's supposed to be, I think if I remember correctly, I think she is supposed to be that Chuck's daughter or granddaughter from the black, because he was a Black Hawk, is what, if I'm not mistaken on that. And they're wishing Superman wasn't in the Phantom Zone, which we know he's in the Phantom Zone because of he admitted to all of his crimes that he may or may not have committed when killed Lex Luthor. But yeah, we got Batman or Nightwing fighting a robot, other people fighting Sinestro, and we got Superman Superman in the Phantom Zone talking to Zod and everybody, and
and he's able to kind of almost like astral project, right? This is because he's talking to Zod, and they're like really harping on him, and then at some point he astral projects to talk to Clark. Is it?
No, he talks to Hal. To the girl in the robot.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
To calm her down and give Nightwing a chance to stop her.
Yeah, and then we cut back to Sinestro shows up to Hal, and then we see that I guess it's what we say. Karl Rayner gets defeated. Hal puts on the ring, and he defeats Sinestro.
Yeah,
and then what else happens here?
That's pretty much it. We have basically Hal going and talking to the to the Guardians. He agrees to help them rebuild the core. And Superman says, well, the reason I could astral project and all you other Phantoms can is because I already had my powers when I came into the Phantom Zone.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. And they're all pissed about that.
Yeah.
They're not too happy with Superman on that. Okay, and then that puts us in 2008.
Yeah, and this one I did love how mad and just pissed off Ultra Humanite was. Like, I'm in a robot body. This sucks. I don't like it. Stop it. Why am I in a robot body?
Yeah, and were the guys that were working on him, these were androids, right? That were like he had set up.
I think they're aliens.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was like, are these like I don't know, robotic humans that are wearing skin, or are they aliens? Like, really couldn't tell. And then the Ultra Humanite, he basically goes to I guess, well, I don't know if this is Metropolis or Gotham. Kind of goes on like a walking spree, like almost like a Times Square. And then we cut to and no, it had to be Central City, right? Or
Central City.
Yeah, it was Central City. And then we cut to the Flash, and he's trying on a new suit. And this is Jay, right?
This is Wally West, because he refers to Uncle Barry, yeah.
And he is
oh no, it is Jay.
That's what I thought. I thought it was Jay. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember this. I'm trying to remember this.
There's so many family in this.
Yeah. It's hard, and they don't change suits. That like the only reason I know Clark Wayne is because he has the most distinctive suit, and so that's the problem I have with most of the Bat family is whenever they change, I'm like, who the hell is this? If they would have kept BJ in the Meccano suit the whole time, I would have known it was him the whole time. But between Dick, BJ, and Batman, I get lost a little bit.
Right. And then this is where we find out that Nightwing married the girl that was in the robot suit, or he was in love with the girl in the robot suit. They meet up.
Yeah, she gets out of prison, and he waited for her.
He waited for her.
And how long was it? Was it? I can't remember. Was it 10 years or something?
It was. Let's see. This is 2008, and this one was 1997. So 11 years.
Yeah. So he really did wait for her. I would have not done it because she doesn't look like much. She's not much to look at. So.
Yeah,
and then we cut to, this is I think this is the best part of the whole generation story. This is the part that really got me last time. Well, so we show up with Batman, and he is at the death bed of his wife, and we finally get to see her face, but she's so old we don't know who she is.
Yep.
And they're telling us it's very near the end, and she's saying, "Oh, you look so good," and he's like, "Well, I was in the pit, the dip, basically,
Lazarus pit.
Yeah, the Lazarus pit, and so yeah, I do look younger and whatever." And then BJ shows up, he's looking old, and I think this is where she says, "Hey, he's not your son, right?"
This is as if there's anything I could have said or done. This isn't. I don't think she says it in this scene.
Okay, because there is two parts to this, so it does cut back to Ultra Humanite and
Ultra Humanite and Nightwing fighting,
and they fight for a while, and then he uses some kind of kryptonite ray on him, and he also refers to himself as Metallo here too, as well, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he finds a little piece of metal on the ground, or I don't remember if it was part of his suit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Jay shows up. He calls himself the Flash 5. And he basically helps Nightwing take him out. But then the Teen Titan, I guess they're not really the Teen Titans in this.
Now we got Black Hawk and Cyborg show up and help as well. And then we got I guess it's supposed to be Lucius Fox. I don't know if it is or not, or just how Jordan's assistant.
But yeah, I didn't know who that was. I was like, is this John Stewart? Because he had the little Green Lantern button.
Yeah,
I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, they call in the Corps, they call in GL and to come help with Ultra Humanite, and here's where it is. Here was the next scene. They were robots. They weren't aliens.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And then they find they remove the brain from Metallo, and they bring it back to the to wherever the little mandroid guys are. And then that kind of ends that scene, and then we move on to who is it? Is this Wayne? Clark Wayne?
Clark Wayne, the Nightwing.
And he marries. He finally marries his. I guess I wouldn't call her his sweetheart. I guess, but
he marries the daughter of a villain. Yeah.
Yes. And then that puts us in 2019, and then it's if I'm not mistaken, it's Nightwing, and he's headed to Superman's
Fortress of
Solitude, and he already knows he can fly and all that at this point. If not
mistaken. At this point he already knows his origins because Clark's been out of the Phantom Zone and he told him and everything.
Yeah, and it's Batman who's flying the Batwing, and he's there, and they meet with Superman, and this is where I think this is where we get the flashback
story.
Yes.
Which is so interesting, and this is like what I remember the most from this whole thing, because I thought it was just such a good little story of basically
you go ahead. I remember this now.
This is basically Jonathan. So Bodz, you would like this. It's John. So basically Clark calls Bruce up to the Fortress of Solitude and is like, hey, look at this TV is showing us the past. It was recorded two months after your parents died, and basically he's like, I need to show y'all some stuff. And he's like, Clark as a kid discovered or created a TV that lets him see the future. And he sees, Clark being Batman, and they find out Bruce Wayne's origin story and feel bad about it. And so Jonathan and Clark, young Clark, Superboy, go out, not even really Superboy, more like Super Kid, because this is
he's
like
very young,
preteen, and go to try to stop it from happening, and inadvertently show up to Gotham on a day when Bruce was getting kidnapped by completely unrelated things. So Superboy basically ends up, saving him. And but this ends up giving Jonathan and Thomas some time to talk. And Jonathan basically shows Thomas the TV, shows everything that's going to happen and all of that, and finds out that he's supposed to die in less than 2 months. And basically warns him. And this is the part that Clark never knew about, is this conversation between Jonathan and Thomas. And basically we learn that Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne knew they were going to die when they went out, but purposely did so to ensure that Bruce would become Batman.
Yes, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is also the storyline where we find out Batman's first First not secret identity, but his first like superhero portrayal or hero portrayal would be the Fox Bat.
Yeah,
in this universe,
little fox costume. Yeah. And we end in that we see we see them we see basically Thomas and Martha doing it, and it's sort of a weird thing Clark and Bruce bond over, in the fact that both of their parents gave their lives to ensure their sons would be who they are.
Yeah,
and that's how Generations 2.
So he had like a different costume at first, a Fox Bat costume.
Yeah, this is like when he's 9. They specifically say he's 9 years old. He puts on a little fox mask and goes.
It's just it's a fox mask, and he puts on like a cape and all that, and it was so he could hide from the bad guys, but then he could also be like a little hero at the same time.
He calls himself the Flying Fox.
The Flying Fox. That's right. Sorry, I always thought it was the Fox Bat. Yeah. So I'm sorry. This is not the one. Go ahead.
Like his the Robin costume. That's after this.
This is way after that. This is that's probably like 7 or 8 years after this, because this is when they are like 9 years old.
Yeah, they're very young.
All right, cool.
But I did think it was crazy the revelation that they were like, oh yeah, they died. And Batman is like taken back by that.
Like, for sure.
Shit,
and
they let themselves die.
The conversation that they have like before they leave, like, we have to do this for the good of the city, perhaps the world, and them telling Bruce, hey, we love you. Sometimes we get busy. Maybe we haven't said it as much as we should. And you just never forget we love you, son, no matter what happens. And it's like, all right, cool. We go into the movies or what? Like,
yeah. They could have gone on vacation and just go, oh no, we're dead. And then come back later and he still becomes Batman. Just like fake your death. You could have you're the Waynes.
Well, it's supposed to be him seeing them get gunned down in the alley.
Yeah.
So they would have to somehow. I'm sure they could have figured out a way, but yeah,
fake your death. It would have been the same. It would have been all the same. And then you just leave for a while, and then it would have been like, oh, they're dead, and no, we're not. It came back.
They just have to wait until Bruce becomes Batman and then show up.
Yeah,
just pretend to be dead for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah. And that's how the Generations 2 ends. And now we move on to there is a good part of this book, but this is not my favorite of the stories. Move on to Generations 3. Ty from the future here. I'm going to save you 30 minutes. Generations 3 is not worth reading. We talked about it in the next sequence, but whenever I listen to it on the playback, it's just not worth anyone's time. There's only one thing of note, at least to me, that happens in this part of the book, and it's the death of Bruce Wayne Jr. It's pretty sad. It's actually a pretty touching moment between Batman and his son. But other than that, if you want to skip Generations 3, I would say you would be no worse for wear. And that's about it for this episode of the Middle-Aged Mutants show. I hope you enjoyed it. We had fun celebrating Superman's 85th anniversary. And with that, this is Bodz, No H, Jeremy, and Ty signing off.